Outnumbered and Outmatched. This is Spawn's darkest hour. Alrighty then, this is a comic book review of Spawn, issue number 355, brought to you by RatedComics. So previously in Spawn and Lyra are cornered by the vampire forces and things take a turn for the worse until an unlikely ally in Jim Downing turns up. So 2 months ago in the Green World, hours before the end of the war in Hell turned up and where Nyx took the throne in Hell in Spawn issue 350. So you got this Groot looking brother talking about how many soldiers did she take, referring to Nyx. And this guy says Nyx took a dozen and she left for the Infernal Keep after your retreat order. Very well. Continue our preparations. We must be ready for Sin's accession because they all thought Sin was going to take that throne and it was all going to go downhill from there. But they asked, what about Jim Downing? Oh, you know, the medics say he's slowly dying. But you know what? They have other plans for him. And they might find a better use for him. So now in current time, Jim Downing picks up exactly where we left off in Spawn issue 354. And he tells the vampires, listen up. Hell's new queen and mother of Greenworld has tasked me with rounding up all angels and demons still left on Earth. Which means you three are coming with me. Which is Lyra, Spawn, and Eddie Reaper. And this vampire's like, new queen? She took the throne? Hell no, that makes no sense. And Jim Downing's like, yeah, she took it months ago. You see, things have changed. Maybe, says the vampire, but they're not leaving. Not after what they tried to do to Bludd. They tried to assassinate him. And Jim Downing's like, that's not my problem. And they're like, oh, actually, yes, it is. Don't get stupid on me and don't reject Nyx. Not now. Not when she's already pissed off that your boss failed to hold up his end of the bargain. Oh, you didn't know about that. That vampire's like, wait a minute, hold up. I don't like that kind of leverage you're using on me. Don't get it twisted. So Jim Downing continues. Yes, you see, Nyx handed Bludd Earth on a platter, but in return, he was to kill each one she sent back. Yet, here we are, months later, and they're still all above ground. That's why I'm here. Your boss had a chance, so now she'll have to deal with them herself. And trust me, whatever she has in store will be unimaginable. Don't be messing with me. Don't be trying me like a sample. So Spawn's like, wait a minute, Downing, hold up, you can't. Don't give me orders, and he blasts Spawn with the necroplasm energy blast. It doesn't make sense, says the vampire. Spawn, I understand, but why does she want the girl and the Reaper? I don't know, I'm just an errand boy, and she doesn't need to give her reasons. So you want to stop me? Be my guest, but think about who you'll be making an enemy of, and ask yourself, is it really worth it? Well, your boss, thank you for destroying the nice little setup she's got here, because remember, Nyx gave you all this by taking everyone's powers away. She's capable of giving them back just as quickly. Now, why would she do that? So they have a little stare down, and because of that little stare down, brother's like, no, it's like that brother in the survival commercial. I can't take that ride. I can't take that chance. And Jim Downing knows that, so the teleportation begins. And he's pissed, but he's pissed not because he fucked up, but he's pissed because he can't do nothing about it. So they teleport back to Spawn's old safe houses, and Spawn recognizes that, and Jim Downing's like, oh no, Spawny, this isn't just any safe house. It's the last time we had our last encounter, remember? And that was in Spawn issue 334. So Spawn's like, okay, what's going on, Downing? You said you were taking us to Nyx, and Eddie Reaper's still in the act of killing himself and ripping his own skin apart, and he's just going ballistic over here. Jim Downing's like, what the freak is that? And Spawn is like, we need to restrain him. Eddie, stop, don't do this. And Eddie Reaper's gonna do what Eddie's gonna do. So when Spawn goes in to try to save him, he gets backhanded. But Jim Downing's like, I'm not having any of this, man. Sorry, kid, this is for your own good, and blast him with the energy blast too. And Jim Downing's like, what the hell was that? I thought he was one of yours. He is, but Bludd is controlling him. He's a vampire now. So those injuries, they look pretty bad, says Jim. I know, but his body will fix itself. I'm worried about what happens when he wakes up. Thanks to Bludd, he'll keep trying to kill himself until he succeeds. That's Bludd's way of trying to torture me. So Jim Downing's like, okay, in case you didn't notice, your lady friend, she just escaped. And truly, I'm sympathetic to Reaper's situation, but that's not why I'm here. And Spawn's like, I already guessed it. And though I appreciate the help back there, I'm not going anywhere with no, relax, says Jim. I'm not here to fight. I just want to know what happened to Nyx. And Spawn's like, what the freak you talking about, man? I haven't spoken to Nyx since before the war ended. And Jim continues, everything I've been saying was a bluff. A bluff to do what, says Spawn. Greenworld's been trying to contact her for months, but it's been nothing but radio silence. You were the last one to see her. I was hoping you have some answers. And Spawn's like, yeah, I wish, but back in issue 350, I only spoke with her for a moment before she banished me back over here. And Jim Downey's like, well, she expanded the dead zones. Do you know why? What does she want from that? No, I assumed it was to let Greenworld take over. Maybe that was her initial plan, says Jim, but there's not much chance of that right now. Why is that? Was Greenworld affected, says Spawn? So now we're getting some juicy details here. Not directly, says Jim. Looks like it's hard to explain, but it's felt different since the war ended. Greenworld's always had tensions with the Emerald Parliament, but lately it's gone to another level. Everyone's at each other's throats constantly. If they knew I was here talking to you, they lose their minds. Well, should I be worried, says Spawn? No, not yet, but I'll let you know if that changes. So Spawn asks Jim, I gotta know, how'd you find us earlier? And Jim tells him, your symbiote, I've still got a connection to it and I heard it screaming. Don't you remember that? Because I was Spawn once upon a time in issue 200. Yeah, says Spawn, it's been unpredictable since I returned from hell. My symbiote took the brunt of the rocket attack I got earlier. Looks like you've changed too. You can thank the Parliament for that. For now, I better get back to the Greenway before they notice I'm missing. But Spawn's like, before you go, I need a favor. And Jim's like, wait a minute, hold it. You mean in addition to me saving your life and your butt? Eddie, says Spawn, I need you to take him with you. I can't, hell no, what the no, Jim don't want to do it. But Spawn knows it's the only place where his powers might reactivate. And as long as he's on Earth, Bludd will always control him. You take him there, we're even, wipe the slate clean. Jim's like, okay, fine. But like I said, it's not exactly a paradise there anymore. And Spawn's like, well, good, it can't be any worse than here. And by the way, that bluff I did before Jim Downey disappears, it won't work twice. Don't expect me to save your ass again. So now we see Lyra watching this telecom, this video conference of Bludd and this other guy talking about this AI and this clean energy expo. And we all know that Bludd has a bigger play with all this, you know? So she's pissed because she really wants to get to Bludd's ass. But Bludd is looking good on the TV, looking good on media, and this pisses her off. So she throws the TV against the mirror and she turns around and she's like, what the hell is that? And Spawn's like, you should have covered your tracks better, but relax. I just came to talk. That's all. I promise. So he asked the first question. Why'd you take off? What was that about? Needed time to regroup, recharge, so I can take another run at Bludd. And why do you think things will go differently next time? What's the alternative, says Lyra. Come work with me, says Spawn. I need muscle, you need training, and a place to stay. We can help each other out, and together we can take down Bludd. But not if we don't trust each other first. But before we go any further in this issue, this video is sponsored by coffee, so if you'd like to buy a boy a cup of coffee, link in description, or donate to the super thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to RatedComics YouTube channel. But now back into the content. So Jason Wynn asked if Fixer's there, report. And Fixer's like, hey, my apologies, sir. Things took a bit longer than expected dealing with the hostiles, but Bludd won't know we were here. Good, get back to base, says Jason Wynn. But what about the target? And Jason Wynn's like, she escaped with Simmons. Now that he's involved, we need to recalibrate our strategy. Why, says the Fixer. Given what I've seen, I can handle Simmons. He has no powers. Oh, trust me, says Jason Wynn. Simmons' powers aren't what make him a threat. But don't worry, you'll get a chance to change all that soon enough. And we see this girl and this, I guess Jason Wynn made a monster in the lab right now. But I have a feeling this has to be Jessica Priest now officially working for Jason Wynn based on the Scorched issues, which we do cover on this channel. But if that is the case, that is something else that Al Simmons is going to have to worry about in another issue. And that's where we're going to end Spawn issue number 355. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Also, link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or any of our other limited print Rated Comics exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. With all that being said, thank you again for watching. Until next time.